I've always struggled to find an external monitor that matches my MacBook's color accuracy and clarity without breaking the bank. And I think I finally found the monitor for my Mac setup. I have the ASUS ProArt display PA278QV. Bit of a mouthful, I know. And it costs just under $200, which was my ideal price point. So let's talk about the most important part of the monitor, the actual display. For context, the ProArt display lineup from ASUS is built specifically for creatives or for those that require professional-grade color accuracy. So for example, think graphic designers, video editors, or photographers. And me being a full-time YouTuber who edits his own videos and thumbnails, I really needed to replace this janky 1080p monitor from BenQ I got years ago from my corporate job. This specific model, PA278QV, is a 27-inch 1440p display with 75Hz refresh rate. I know, it doesn't have the best specs, but remember, this is a budget monitor, so kinda had to pick and choose certain features. Anyway, I've always used 27-inch monitors. It's the perfect size that's not too big or overwhelming, but still gives me plenty of space for editing and watching videos. Resolution-wise, I would have loved a 4K display, but I wasn't trying to spend that much money yet, and 1440p felt like the perfect middle ground over 1080p. It has a 75Hz refresh rate, meaning the screen can refresh up to 75 times per second, giving you slightly smoother motion than a standard 60Hz display. I mean, sure, having a 120Hz refresh rate would have been nice, but honestly, for how I use my monitor, like editing or just general browsing, it definitely wasn't a must-have. So 75Hz still feels like a solid upgrade without paying extra for something I wouldn't really use, at least for now. I know there are other monitors with similar specs that's actually cheaper than this one, but the reason I got this monitor is for its color accuracy. I'm not an expert on color calibration, so what mattered to me the most was passing the eye test. Meaning when it's next to my MacBook Pro, do the same photos or videos look similar enough? Can I trust the colors without double checking on my MacBook? And the answer with this monitor is yes to both. I mean, it even comes with a color calibration report and this Kalman verified paper that basically says your display's been calibrated for creative accuracy right out of the box. Basically, it means it's been tested to meet professional color standards. It covers 100% of the sRGB and Rec 79 color space. So everything you see looks accurate and consistent whether you're editing photos, videos, or just browsing. And that Kalman verified part means it's factory calibrated for a delta E below 2, which I also had to look up what it is. But basically it means the color difference from real life is almost impossible to notice with the human eye. In other words, the colors are super accurate straight out of the box. My biggest issue with my old monitor was that I couldn't really trust the colors I was seeing on the screen. The image always looked more desaturated and washed out compared to my MacBook screen. Even in photos for thumbnails, everything had a yellow tint, so I always ended up relying on my MacBook, which kind of defeated the point of having a bigger monitor. This monitor, on the other hand, fixed that issue immediately. Here's a quick side-by-side comparison with the old monitor of the same video so you have a reference, and you can see that the ASUS monitor just has more saturation and the colors pop more. Even playing the same video on my MacBook next to the ASUS monitor, the colors look almost identical. It still is an LCD display, so compared to the mini LED display on my MacBook Pro, the blacks aren't quite as deep, but overall, it's still pretty close. I can finally edit my thumbnails on my monitor with confidence without having to check it again on my MacBook for color accuracy. And now let's talk about the overall design of the monitor. The design is pretty simple. It has a thin bezel all around and a small chin at the bottom with a faint ruler. It's subtle and I don't think I'll ever use it, but nice to have if you're working with photos or documents. The stand looks like it has brushed aluminum finish, but it's actually plastic, which for a $200 monitor is pretty expected. The base can also spin 180 degrees and the arm lets you tilt, swivel, and adjust the height. And if you want, you can even flip the screen vertically to use it in portrait mode. So if you plan on using the stand, it's definitely flexible enough to fit most setups. I personally have it on an arm with a regular face-up mount next to my MacBook. I'll link it down below if you're interested. And in the back, you get a solid set of ports, DVI, HDMI, DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort, audio in, a headphone jack, and 4 USB 3 ports. It has built-in speakers that play through the top grille in the back, but they're pretty weak as you'd expect, almost no bass or any clarity. I mean, it's fine in a pinch, but you'll definitely need to use other speakers or headphones. The front right control buttons let you adjust built-in blue light filters with 4 levels to help reduce eye strain. And you can also control brightness, which on paper only goes up to 350 nits, but with this app called Better Display, it actually gets really bright. So I'll get to that in a little bit. There are also built-in alignment tools like rulers, grids, and even paper size overlays such as A4 or B5. And lastly, the ProArt color palette lets you tweak colors to match your exact workflow or preference. I wanted to briefly touch on the Better Display app because it really helped me utilize my monitor to its full potential. This part's not sponsored at all. I actually found this app through a YouTube video because I was having issues with scaling and resolution. Without this app, when I first plugged in the monitor to my Mac, it defaulted to 2560 by 1440, and everything looked tiny where I couldn't read anything and I couldn't scale the text like I could on my MacBook. Scaling down to 1920 by 1080 made the scaling right, but the resolution was terrible. But with Better Display, I can now use a high DPI scaling option, basically meaning I can scale it like 1080p so everything's in the right size and easy to read, while keeping the sharpness of a 1440p display, which gives me the perfect balance of crisp and comfort. And honestly, it's kind of wild that Apple still doesn't let you scale displays like this natively. So overall, I'd say this is hands down the best budget monitor for Mac users or creators if you care a lot about color accuracy. I mean, out of the box, you're getting a color accurate 1440p display that's factory calibrated, pretty well built, has tons of connectivity, and even small thoughtful touches like alignment tools, all for around $200. And obviously it's not perfect. It still has an LCD panel, the built-in speakers are pretty bad, and it's definitely not meant for gaming with its 75Hz refresh rate, but for video editing, photo work, and general productivity, it checks every box that actually matters. And with the Better Display app basically unlocking Retina level scaling on Mac, this whole setup definitely punches above its price. It seems like it retails for $269, but I got mine on Prime Day for $179, and it seems like on Amazon it's back up to $196, which is still a pretty good deal. In the future, when I'm making more money, I'll definitely be getting a 4K OLED monitor, but for now, this one's perfect for me. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye now.